If you had to do it again, what would you change?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think the comic-like action should be done again. I think the days when pundits said, oh, a weekly comic is dead and so on, I mean, that's increasingly suspect. I mean, when you consider, for instance, there are something like 25 comics out there on the UK market for kids between year 0 and year 6 or 7. There's 25 of them out there. Now, when they get to 7, there's nothing. And then there's a gap until they get to 2000 AD. So there is a market for an action. So if you were looking at it through today's lens, I think some of the stories would still work very well. So let's see. A death game? Why not? It would still work today. Rollerball was remade very badly, as I understand it, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago. So that still works. Dredger, Secret Agent, yeah, it still works. It's very, very hard to do well. To do a Secret Agent story well is very difficult. And that's why these stories tended to disappear, because they require too much research. Hookjaw, of course it could happen tomorrow. I mean, you've got global warming, you've got all these tidal disturbances and things. I mean, a shark like that, I mean, he's going to be... I mean, I did actually mention this to my agent, who looked quite horrified, which showed that obviously I haven't completely lost my sense of bad taste, because I think I suggested something like, so well, couldn't Hookjaw come back and end up in New Orleans, you know, you could sort of turn up, you know, swimming down the...
It's finger looking good.
Yeah, you know, in the middle of that disaster there. And he said, no, that would be in very poor taste. But I mean, you know, I don't know what to say about that really. I mean, if you're going to constantly write things not to offend anyone, you end up with Walt Disney really. So yeah, Hookjaw would still work. Let's see. Some of the other, and I think most of the other stories, particularly, ironically, Play Till You Drop. If one was to do that well, with a kind of Beckham-like character, the problem then, as now, is there is a shortage of writers who are competent to write these stories well. And I hate to say it, but science fiction is an escape, because if you have something, you know, a strato cruiser on the other side of the galaxy, nobody's going to say whether you've got the, you know, the engine right and the crew right and the guns right and everything. But if you are doing a realistic story, as we were doing mainly in action, not totally, but mainly, you've got to get your facts right. And that puts a lot more pressure on the writers and artists. Science fiction can be a bit of a cop-out.
And finally...